Naji Al-Ali was a Palestinian cartoonist and artist, known for his political acuity and unmatched creativity. His work from the 1960s to the 1980s depicted the struggle of the Palestinian people and critiqued the actions of Israel and the United States. Through his powerful and thought-provoking cartoons, Naji Al-Ali fearlessly challenged the status quo and exposed the injustices and inequalities faced by Palestinians. He quickly became a symbol of resistance and hope for his community and beyond. Al-Ali was a pioneer in the field of political cartooning, using his art to speak truth to power and courageously defend the rights of the Palestinian people. Despite facing numerous threats, he crossed frontiers in the world of political activism, journalism, and cartooning, by remaining steadfast in his commitment to use art as a means of resistance and a tool for social change. The images that Al-Ali created were so powerful that some have even become iconic and are still used today. Born in the late 1930s in the village of EL-HAJJAR in northern Palestine, Al-Ali grew up during a time of great political upheaval. As a 10-year-old boy, he witnessed the 1948 catastrophe, or Al-Nakba, which was the destruction of Palestinian villages and the displacement of Palestinians. During this time, nearly 1 million Palestinians were forcibly expelled from their villages. 1948 was also the year that the State of Israel was established, and these events would forever shape Naji Al-Ali's life and art. The history of the Palestine-Israeli conflict is a long and complex one, but it has its roots in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Palestine was a part of the Ottoman Empire. After the Ottoman Empire collapsed following World War I, the League of Nations granted Britain colonial rule of Palestine. In 1947, the United Nations voted to partition Palestine into 2 states, one state for Jewish citizens and another for Muslim and Christian citizens. This decision was made due to the aftermath of the Holocaust and number of Jewish refugees in need of a home. However, the partition led to violent conflict, and in 1948, Israel declared its independence. The Arab states rejected this partition, which launched a war between Israel and Palestine. The war lasted for over a year and resulted in victory for Israel. The 1948 war also resulted in the displacement of nearly 1 million Palestinians. Many of these refugees fled to neighboring Arab countries, where they and their descendants have lived in refugee camps for decades, hoping for the right to return to their ancestral homeland. Palestinians argue that the European Holocaust does not justify land theft in Palestine and the persecution and discrimination they now face. It is in this Palestinian diaspora that Naji Al-Ali grew up. As a 10-year-old, in 1948, Al-Ali and his family were forcibly displaced from their village in northern Palestine. They fled to Ain al-Halwa, a refugee camp in southern Lebanon. His experience as a refugee forever shaped his art and impacted how he viewed Arab and Western politics. In the 1960s, as a young man, Al-Ali worked for various Arab newspapers and magazines. His cartoons were known for their sharp wit and political commentary, and they quickly gained a large following among Arab readers. In many of his works, he illustrated the struggles of Palestinians living under Israeli occupation, highlighting the violence and discrimination they faced. Naji Al-Ali uncovered what he believed was a blanket of lies that engulf our world. His art revolutionized how people viewed the Palestinian struggle. One of Al-Ali's most famous creations is the character Handala, a 10-year-old who stands barefoot with his back to the viewer. He is a refugee, a boy who never ages, a symbol of innocence and a surrogate for Al-Ali himself. Handala represents Al-Ali's pertinacious quest to return to his motherland. In an interview with novelist Radwa Ashwar in 1985, Naji Al-Ali said, "The young barefoot Handala was a symbol of my childhood. He was the age I was when I had left Palestine, and in a sense, I am still that age today. He was the arrow of a compass, pointing steadily towards Palestine." Another symbol that appears frequently in Al-Ali's cartoons is a key, which represents the right of Palestinians to return to their homeland. The key is often depicted in the hands of Fatima, a character who symbolizes the Palestinian motherland. On the other hand, the character in Al-Ali's cartoons, the oppressor, is often depicted as a wealthy, powerful figure, representing the forces that seek to control and exploit marginalized and oppressed people. This character is often depicted as being controlled by Western powers. Other symbols that appear in Al-Ali's cartoons include the Palestinian flag, a symbol of independence, flowers, a symbol of resilience, and an olive tree, which is a symbol of Palestinians' deep roots to their ancestral land. Al-Ali's cartoons were meant for ordinary people. Everyone could understand them. And that's what's so powerful. Al-Ali was able to communicate complex and nuanced issues facing the Middle East and the world at large in simple cartoons. Al-Ali's brilliance lies in his ability to use symbols to convey his messages. Al-Ali didn't only critique Zionism or Israel's occupation of Palestine. He also harshly criticized movements like the Palestine Liberation Organization, powerful leaders like Yasser Arafat, and the influence of Western governments. Because of this, he was the target of numerous death threats from both Israeli and Palestinian groups. Despite widespread popularity among readers, his cartoons were frequently censored by Arab governments and were banned in some countries. Despite these attempts to silence his work, Al-Ali continued to speak out and use his art as a form of resistance and political commentary. Throughout his life, Al-Ali continued to try and expose the hypocrisy and challenge the status quo. He changed the way the world saw cartooning, Palestine, and the role art can play in our society. Victor Navasky stated in his book, The Art of Controversy, "No subject has been written about with more passion, bitterness, and bias than the Palestinians and Israelis and Arabs and Jews. Yet it's hard to think of another print journalist who covered that topic that has been assassinated or assaulted for his prose." End quote. Al-Ali's life was cut short when he was assassinated in 1987. He was on his way back to work at the Al-Kabas news station in Knightsbridge, London, when he was shot in the back of the neck. He was only 52 years old. Al-Ali dug deeper into what the world didn't want exposed. More than that, he was able to communicate his messages to everyone, not just the elite or few. In an interview with Khaled Al-Ali, Naji Al-Ali's son, he said, "Naji paid the price for being honest with his readers." End quote. Al-Ali held his power through his pen and broke frontiers in political cartooning and social activism. In 2017, the London police reopened the murder case, but no progress to Al-Ali's true killer has been found. However, Al-Ali's legacy as a revered figure for social justice and human rights lives on through his art. Many people view him as a martyr because he was able to give voice to the voiceless and power to the powerless. Today, Al-Ali's cartoons have been indelibly emblazoned on murals worldwide. You don't have to look far to see the image of Hamdallah, who is now viewed as a ubiquitous symbol for the Palestinian people in their struggle for freedom, justice, and equality. In fact, other social movements use the symbol of Hamdallah as well. Al-Ali's cartoons remain a powerful reminder of the ongoing struggle for Palestinian rights and the important role that art can play in political movements. May Naji Al-Ali rest in peace.